In every country, there will always be rules and laws to be followed in order to preserve peace and balance in society. Rules to abide to, laws to pay attention to. These regulations have a heavy weight to it. They are of great importance and should not be violated in any way or form. These laws protect us and help us in any risky situation one might be in. But most of all, it protects us as humans and as part of society as well.
In the Philippines, we have the Bill of Rights, Article 3 under the 1987 Philippine Constitution. Under this constitution are 22 sections, filled with the right of every Filipino citizen. We've all heard of it, human rights, but really, what do they truly mean? How can we define them?
According to the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, human rights are norms that aspire to protect all people everywhere from severe political, legal, and social abuses. Examples of human rights are the right to freedom of religion, the right to a fair trial when charged with a crime, the right not to be tortured, and the right to education. In layman's terms, human rights are basic things that we should consider and rely on, since these are the ones that protect us and reason why we do have freedom and law to conform. As a student, we must be aware of our basic human rights. The following are some examples of rights as we, the youth, must exercise and must learn of. First, Article 3, Section 1 states that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall any person be denied the equal protection of the laws. This is important since this protects the Filipino people from being taken away from the right to live and to be free, as well as the abuse in any form, mostly from properties or estate rights.
Article 3, Section 4 states that no law shall be passed abridging the freedom of speech, of expression, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and petition the government for redress of grievances. This shows that we do have the freedom of how we can express and present ourselves to other people, and also the right to form a group or an organization that could stand up and fight for their own right in a peaceful manner. However, with this great power comes responsibility. Although you are entitled to your own opinion and own expression, it is important to be mindful of your words, lest you hurt someone. It is a commonly known fact that people around the world tend to abuse this right, and so it is up to them and to us to know its boundaries and to learn how to use our freedom of speech for greater causes.
And lastly, Article 3, Section 12 states, any person under investigation for the commission of an offense shall have the right to be informed of his right to remain silent and to have competent and independent counsel, preferably of his own choice. If the person cannot afford the services of his counsel, he must be provided with one. These rights cannot be waived except in writing and in the presence of counsel. Other parts of this section are as follows. No torture, force, violence, threat, intimidation, or any other means which vitiate the free will shall be used against him. Secret detention places, solitary, incommunicado, or other similar forms of detention are prohibited. Any confession or admission obtained in violation of this or Section 17 hereof shall be admissible in evidence against the person. And the law shall provide for penal and civil sanctions for violations of this section, as well as compensation through the rehabilitation of victims or torture or similar practices and their families. Section 12 are rights of the accused, which means these are rights given to those under the scrutiny over committing an offense or crime, whether the accused person is guilty or not. Those accused are entitled to have their own lawyers, the right to not speak of anything that could incriminate them, and they are protected against any forms of threat and torture. Evidence that is collected illegally against the accused person is dismissed.
Since the start of 2015, a term called red tagging has surfaced, and since then has been a prominent topic. Red tagging refers to the act of accusing organizations or individuals as terrorists, threats, or enemies. They often end up in harassment or fatal ends.
According to the statistics showcased by the United Nations on Human Rights, 251 people have been killed since 2015. 216 were male and 35 were female. Most of them were either human rights activists, journalists, and legal workers. These acts of red tagging is the government's way of silencing people who defend themselves, which is a clear case of human rights violations.
As citizens of the Philippines and as a democratic country, we are the backbone of our own country. We must be heard, must be seen, and must be loud. As students, we must think wisely and defend ourselves against the violations of our very own rights, given to us since the moment we breathed our first breath. To stand up for others and for the right cause is also to promote and defend our basic human rights. It is all right to be scared and to be wary, but to be apathetic to such urgent matters is to be ignorant.
Use your voice, defend your rights, stand up for what is right. Like what they say, ang kabataan ay ang pag-asa ng bayan. So, what do you say? Will you stand up for what is right? Or will you remain in the dark willingly in ignorance?